Well, g'day, guys. Welcome to another casual convo. This is a ripper, this one. I know they all are, and I say that every time, but this is a ripper. I've got Mario Laing from Lake Eildon Rowing Club on here, and we're going to have a great chat about a lot of things rowing, but also, most importantly, Lake Eildon Rowing Club. Mario, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, guys. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, look,
and
it's great to have you. But I gotta say, and this is just for a bit of a laugh. It's not Gus, it's Guy. But
Guy, that's the one.
But that's all right, mate. Don't worry. I've got no problem with that. I get called many things, and I'll take Gus as a compliment to other things that I've been called in the past. So don't worry. Now, Mario, I have I won't say I've followed your career. That's probably a bit of an embellishment, but I have rowed against you in the past many times in single sculls back at even in your Carrum days, if I recall. And each time I'd see a start list and see Mario, I was always a bit nervous. But if I'm not sure. Tell me about your rowing career, because the first knowledge I have is back when you were at Carrum and you were coaching a lot of scullers back then who were all doing really well. Where did your rowing come from?
So I was born into a family of rowing, basically. My dad was a rower in Chile, and his father was a rower too. So yep. It was kind of like one of these things that got passed down. And my dad competed at a South American championships for Chile, and he wore the red, and it's red and blue.
Right.
And the oar has a star on it, and there's a lot of passion in the rowing community in South America. It was sort of started off with the migrants from Italy and Germany that basically in the 1800s moved over and started thinking, well, let's start the rowing club, Yep. So I read a bit of the history of all that, and the place that I used to train when I was a kid in Chile was this beautiful, huge lake. And, I remember rowing as a kid, and I was like 9 years old when I started on this lake, and it was like a heaven, like you have beautiful water and you can go swimming there afterwards, and we used to hang out till late in the afternoon, basically, rowing and swimming. And so it was kind of idyllic rowing life. And, my parents were very supportive, because Dad was a rower before. He sort of knew that it's sort of something you do a lot of training for. But still, I had a few fights. Mum, basically, I remember her ripping my shorts and going, "You're not going rowing tomorrow."
She was getting sick of all the men rowing in the family.
Yeah. And
was rowing like a school thing in Chile, or was it more club based? So you were going down to a club, I'm assuming, or
Yeah, it's a different system over there. So you can be, from different backgrounds, and you can just join the club. And so we've got like programs for juniors, under 14s, and there's even under 12s. It goes right down. Like they do start them really young, and it's kind of it doesn't really just focus on schools. Although now it is getting to be more that some schools really take it on.
Yeah, it is interesting you say that, because that is sort of the perception over here, that it is all only school based, which is not true, because all these clubs have junior programs, and they're big on getting kids in. But I think the numbers do come through the schools, especially if you're not introduced, because I suppose it is a sport that you do get introduced to from parents and so forth. But so you've basically been rowing your whole life.
Pretty much. I think it was just and then when I think it was 1972, there was the South American Championships, and I remember watching from the stands, Dad racing for that thing.
Wow.
Or was it that, or going to another one? It was just, but so it's always been in the family, and it's been there the whole life, and it's something I've grown up with, And I wasn't always like, I remember coming and having a very very bad style, of rowing. It was just basically just ripping through, and strike, trying to get the rating up, but it was all arms and up body.
Yep.
And then I met this guy, Peter Anthony, because
Peter Anthony. Who's he?
Peter Anthony.
Yeah, obviously.
He's just this amazing sculler from Melbourne University.
He knows a little bit about the sport, yes.
Yeah, and he's a unique character. So I saw the picture of him winning the 1986 World Championships.
Yep.
And we've moved from Chile, rowing in this lake, to living in suburbia. We went to live in Kilsyth and in Croydon.
Yep.
And to get to the river, it was like an hour in the train. And I remember just going to school and then afterwards catching the train to get to Flinders Street and then go for a walk down to, the boat sheds, Melbourne Uni boat sheds. So Melbourne Uni was the club that I basically did most of my rowing early.
So you were living in Kilsyth and going to row out of Melbourne Uni?
Yeah.
Oh,
so I would just because it was like one of the things that sort of I really enjoyed as a kid was being out in a single, in the middle of a lake.
Yeah.
Just you and it's just, beautiful experience. And, I spent just hours near the water. It's just such a great way to be out there. So I was very keen, but always trying to learn and perfect the thing, because it's one of those sports that just, you can never perfect it.
No such thing as perfection, is there?
Yeah, like once I said to Peter Anthony, I said, I think I've done it,
He would have
and he sort of laughed and he said, no, you can never. It's like, so you're always trying to find that perfect stroke. And, so then I went from Melbourne Uni, and I had some really good times at Melbourne Uni. And we had a really good crew that went to state titles. It was a lightweight, under 23 lightweight 4.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a guy called Stuart Peel, who was who I rowed with in a pair, and he ended up rowing for Australia. And I used to row against, Anthony Edwards in the single. Like, I remember facing him the first time. I'd previously won the state title in the lightweight under 23 the previous year, and I thought, this year I should win it again. That's my right. Then this kid shows up in this wooden boat with long hair, and it's freaking, who is this kid? It turns out it's Anthony Edwards. He wins by a length. And I just could not catch him.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're making me feel a lot better, because I think you've pretty much always beaten me whenever I've come across you over the. I haven't rowed for years, so I've been pretty much predominantly coxing. But back when I was sculling a few years ago, I'm thinking, God, I just can't get near this bloke. But now I'm feeling a lot better, knowing you've got a lot more under your belt than I thought you might have. So that's a win.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Melbourne Uni, then off to, what was it, Carrum after that, or?
So, well, then I actually got a job in the country as a rowing coordinator at Sale Catholic College. Yep. And they were probably my two best years were in there, because we had a rowing program, and we went. There's a canal there, and I've got a friend who's Tim Hamilton. He's I
know Tim. Obviously, I know Tim very well. I've coxed you and Tim as well just recently at Rutherglen.
Yeah. So Tim is another, guy who's been around and loves the sport, and he's trying to make it grow. And so he's a real mentor. He's been a great help for me, and so we've been having quite a few talks just to think how we can make this thing happen, this Lake Eildon Rowing Club, because it has a few obstacles, it's had a lot of blessings.
Well, let's just start on that. So Mario, when did you where did the idea of Lake Eildon Rowing Club originally come from? And I should point out to everyone, Lake Eildon Rowing Club is the newest rowing club in Australia, and could probably be the newest rowing club in the world, couldn't it? I mean, based on time. And I should also point out, you've actually won a medal, haven't you? I think was it Rutherglen that you won your first medal, Lake Eildon?
We won a medal. It was a mixed double. No, it was a mixed double. Yeah. Not a mixed double.
Mixed double. I don't know if Tim would like to be called a mixed double.
No, it wasn't a mixed double.
It doesn't matter.
It was a double. It was some sort of double.
Yeah, jokes aside. So where did the idea originally come from for the rowing club at Lake Eildon?
Well, what happened was COVID was not the best thing for me, or it was in some ways the best thing for me. You know, it was a difficult time because I decided to move to the country because that's what I wanted to do. You know, I just sort of felt like at that point, maybe a lot of people felt the same way.
Yeah.
They had just questioned a lot of things about how they want to live their life, you know, and so I reached that point. I thought, you know what, I love to live in the country. And we had this house in a place called Buxton, and it's got the river in the backyard, and so I just got chickens, and I brought my cat here, and then I've got a dog, you know, and I know it's just living the life of the country.
Dream,
you know?
Mario, living
the dream, basically, the one that you've been putting off for the rest of your life, you know, at some point you'll catch it. So I just went, you know, I'm going to do this, and I'll start growing veggies, and I'll just start to live off the land a bit more and get water tanks and all that.
Yep.
And make it happen. So I had to go through a divorce, you know, to actually get to this sort of point in my life.
Yep.
And that was a difficult time.
Yeah, of course.
But and start something new. So where did I want to start? So I focused on creating a rowing club because I'd read the stories about this place, and in the beginning I was still a member of Powerhouse Rowing Club, and I was traveling, you know, to get to Powerhouse. I was leaving like at 3:30 in the morning, and on the way you find there's deer everywhere. You have to avoid, you know, hitting the deer through the Black Spur, because the Black Spur is quite tricky, you know. The Black Spur is this section of road that is between Hillsville and Narberthong.
Yeah, it's a pretty dangerous bit of road, isn't it?
Yes, a lot. The motorcycle riders love it.
They do love it. Not so safe for them too, the way they go through there sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was doing that to get to row, and we had some, you know, row in the 8s, and we started at 5:30 in the morning at Powerhouse. And I thought after a while, you know what, I'm going to have to just row on the lake of one of the farmers here. So there's a farmer here, Ray Donkin, his name, bless him. Yeah. This man, he's got a lake, and he's got an island in the middle of the lake.
Right.
And I thought, you know what, I'm going to row in this lake, and you can, but the only problem is that the lake is 240 meters long.
Oh, there's a bit of turning around in that. You practice a few starts, Mario.
I did. So I worked out you could only get 20 strokes, and you had to stop, and you had to turn, and you had another 20 strokes and turn, and then. So basically, I thought, oh yeah, this could happen, and then one day, there was the island in the middle. I just went straight on top of the island, and that was it. I thought, nah, that's it. I'm done. You know, I have to go find somewhere else. And then I went to. So there's a guy called Andrew Guerin.
Yes, it's funny you mentioned that. I was going to bring him up actually because he's obviously got to tidy up his website, because you're not on there yet, and you should be on there. But that's all right. We can chat to Andrew about that soon. But So go on about Andrew.
He was an inspiration to this thing because when you're going through Google and doing all this stupid surfing, you end up thinking, okay, well, what a bit about the get to know a little bit about the history of rowing in the area. Yeah. And I ended up realizing there was all these rowing clubs all through the rivers around here. You know, there was the Yea Rowing Club. Yeah, I think Seymour had a rowing club because the Goulburn River, you know, is rowable in all those sections there. You know, there's a lot of debris, unfortunately, a lot of trees and stuff. But you could clear your little section of river and have a little rowing club there.
And so many of these clubs have been around for, over 100 years. That's the crazy thing. Yeah.
There was a club called the Yay Rowing Club, and I read it up in Andrew Guerin's book.
Yes.
On the history of rowing. I don't know what's called the book. And
I will point this out to anyone who's listening in. It is worth just Google Australian rowing history, and you'll find Andrew Guerin's info on there. It's extremely detailed and covers just about everything. But sorry to interrupt, Mario. Go on there.
Yeah, so that's where I read about the startings of the Yay Rowing Club.
Yep.
And I found out where they used to row from, and it was on the Goulburn River.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a section of river, and it's called Killingworth River Reserve in Yay. You can look it up and search it up on Google, and there's a section there. It's 1,000 meters, and they used to row there. They used to race against the current back in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
And people remember there's the longest 1,000 meters because at some points the level is quite high, the water, and you think it's pretty dangerous, really, because it's pretty high level of current at some point.
Yeah.
And people rowing against it. And imagine if it took them longer, what sort of current it was that they had to row against. And so apparently there was a snake issue as well, like the tiger snakes are big around there, and some guy went to pick up his
We
rod.
get them on the Yarra too, Mario. I've seen a few snakes crawling across the Yarra. They make you want to stay in your single, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think I've seen him at Studley Park. I've seen him. Yeah, so that was the story with that. Yeah.
Well, I'm just looking as we're talking. I'm clicking over here, and I see on the Yay Rowing Club, the history of Yay Rowing Club on Andrew Guerin's site. It says a snowstorm caused damage to the clubhouse, and this was replaced by a recreational hut. A snowstorm. I mean, anyway.
A snowstorm in Yay.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, something weird was going on there, but that's what the website says. I'm not going to. Anyway, never mind. So you got the idea. You're ready to go. You want to row on Lake Eildon.
So the original plan.
How does it come up? Andrew Guerin's obviously on side, guiding, assisting. How do you make it happen?
So I had the idea and the dream, to go rowing with some people on Lake Eildon. First of all, I was at a pub. So what happened was I got a job working behind the bar at the Marysville pub.
Oh, yeah.
This is between, breaking up and moving to the country and just asking yourself the question, what am I going to do with my life from here on? Where do I want to spend my time? How I'm going to do it? And I was at the pub and I was talking to one of the locals and I was just saying, I'm starting the rowing club, at the beginning they're all laughing. And I'm just saying, no, I'm starting it, it's going to happen. And I said, it's going to be on the river. It's going to be on the river. And he said, you're crazy, it's so freaking dangerous. No way you can do it there. So he said, you should go and do it on this place. So by this stage, I had already gone to the river and I tried out the section of where the Yay Rowing Club used to be. And there's a video somewhere I've got where I went and checked it out, and it's fantastic. But so it is an alternative to go rowing there, like if the lake is really messy or too many waves.
But then too many jet skis.
Yes, or jet skis, and for that reason I had avoided it. That's right.
We worry about O-boats on the Yarra, but I reckon go boats, whatever they're called. I reckon jet skis would be worse.
Yes, and that's why I avoided it, and that's why I'd never gone out there and tried it. But then one day I go, okay, I'm going to go and try it. So I went to this place, and it's in the middle of autumn, and the water was absolutely flat. And I went out for a row, and it was like a 16K row. And I did 8 kilometers in one direction and then turn and then 8 kilometers back. And I just felt like I was in heaven. And and then I just kept, and over the autumn and winter months, there's nobody there. All the jet skis have gone home.
Yeah, exactly.
and you've got the whole lake to yourself, and you've got this amazing moment. So it's a really good time to come around the autumn and winter period if you want to have.
You can also get reasonable weather,
ride.
can't you? Because you don't get the rain as much up there. You can get some nice, cool, clear sort of days.
Yes, yes, you do. It's definitely the best time of the year.
So how does this happen? You don't have a boat shed, I assume. What do you have? A trailer of boats, and where do they live, and how do you actually go rowing?
Yeah. So how we do it is we have 3 trailers. So as a result of, after the divorce and the change of life, there was a little bit of money there that was used by Mr. Laing to go towards this. And one of those things was to purchase a trailer.
Oh, God. Oh, so your whole livelihood's gone into a trailer for a couple of boats to go rowing.
Yes.
That says something about dedication. I'll give you that.
But I also thought about long term. I think this thing I want to create is going to be long term. It's
Good on you.
100 years from now, we want to have a Lake Eildon Rowing Club. And at the moment, and have some sort of place for it. And the original idea is this place called the Pondage, which is an amazing section of water that's below the lake itself. Right. And when you see it, you'll go, you've got to get people rowing on that lake. I mean, it's unbelievable. It will be like Luzerne. It's got a little island in the center. It looks like it's so picturesque, and you've got a perfect finish line. And we have we definitely know that there's we can get permission to have a regatta there.
Yep.
But we cannot train on that because it's managed by Mario Golden Water and AGL. They use it to produce electricity, and the flow change, and it's and for that reason. But we could use it for that, but down the track, and that's sort of another possibility. But then the lake itself, you've got 550 kilometers of a coastline. Okay, so you've got so much potential there to go rowing somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
So we're mobile. So what happens is tomorrow we're going rowing at 7 a.m, and I show up and I hook up the trailer. So the trailers are being stored with boats. They're being stored at an outdoor education centre, and they've been very generous, allowing us to use this section of land.
Yep.
And we've got the trailers there, and we're just getting some covers. We've got some tarps that we have to fit over the boat.
For the boats.
We haven't, for protection.
Yep.
So we haven't got to that stage yet because, we had a working bee about a month ago, and we washed all the boats, and, that was the first time, and we had 7 members showed up. And so there's a bit of enthusiasm, which has been good because, I think that's one of the things I'm trying to, build is this love for this thing that you can do for your whole life.
Yeah.
I agree. And you have
exactly right.
To it,
Yeah. And that's one thing I'd noticed because I'd known of you before. And I know you're mates with Andre, who's a good mate of mine, because he was a cardinal before he was over at Powerhouse, and he talked a lot about you, and so I certainly knew of you. But one thing that really stood out, getting to know you up at Rutherglen, is you just wanted to go out and row. You didn't care about results, and when I say that, I don't mean you weren't trying. Don't misunderstand that in the slightest. You'd work your ass off. Don't get me wrong, but you were there just because you enjoyed the sport, and that was something that I really noticed on that weekend. I don't know if anyone's ever sort of said that side of things to you, but it's very obvious to me that you just love the sport, you love about the people, and obviously you're super proud of what you're doing at Lake Eildon.
Yeah, I think that then there's a story with Tim Skerritt. He's the president of the club, and how I met him and how he came on board, basically because he went to Kerry Grummer when he was a young kid.
Yep.
And he rode there, and Noel Donaldson was a coach there, and there was a couple of other people who were legendary in the sport, you know, who basically were coaching the kids at that time.
Yep.
And so this guy's getting amazing coaching, and he basically he knows how to row, you know, he knows how to feel the blade and how to hang up the thing, and he's a rower, so he's done a lot of sweep and not much sculling. So, and I got him on, and you know, he likes to smoke and he's trying to give up, and he wants to do it because he wants to be healthy again, you know, because he was a champion, and could have been an Olympian, you know, that kind of level. And so he saw the boats, because I used to have the boats parked just on this guy's bit of land, which is right next to the Maroondah Highway. As you come into Buxton, you can see his lake on the left-hand side. And I thought I'd just park the trailer with boats there. So, and this guy works on the highway. He goes up and down with his car, and he drives past, and he sees it a few times, and he goes, "I've got to talk to this guy." And then I wrote an article in one of the newspapers, and I was just talking about this thing, because what actually happened, and you know, sometimes, you know, there are miracles sort of things that happen, and you just wonder, how the hell is this thing?
The luck of things,
Yes, and I was working behind the bar at a hotel, and the mayor walked in, you know, the mayor of the whole area. And she walks in, and then she's having a conference there. So I thought I'd go and say hi, because I was also serving tables, you know, I was a waiter for a while.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I've been a chef, and I can tell you, you know, it's bloody hard work in hospitality.
It's hard work. You're on your feet the whole time. I was keeping myself pretty fit.
Yeah, nothing. You do nothing but respect for those people.
Yeah. So it was good, and then I got to meet all these people who used to come there, and I started talking to the mayor, and I said, I'd like to start a rowing club on the Ponditch, you know. And basically it just went from there. She just said, "Oh, yeah," and she started. And the next thing, there was a meeting in the town, and there was 100, and they opened it up to ideas for the town and how to make the town explode and get more people, you know, like with bringing in tourists and bringing people from outside in. And somebody from the council remembered this idea of the rowing club. You know, the rowing club was and then all of a sudden these people picked up the idea and they said, "Yeah, that's a great idea." And they put it in the top 6 that they're going to focus on for the future of the town. And then they called me up. Somebody from the council called me up and says, "You know, we heard your idea and we'd like to hear more." And so the next thing, they invite me to a meeting, and I go to this meeting and I talk about the idea. And it really is an idea, you know, it's just an idea. It's ideas that change the world in the end.
Basically,
Yep,
agree.
It's ideas, new ideas, you know, old ideas, they don't last, and then new ideas born. And, you know, I do believe in that. So then it got picked up, and then there was support, and then it's basically, once that support is there, and the mayor's, not the mayor, the councillor is behind it as well. So the council is behind it because they know it will bring a lot of benefit to the town. You know, if we can have more people coming up here and rowing on Lake Eildon in autumn when the weather is fantastic and there's no jet skis, and we could have a regatta there. There's a little island, and you can go around the island, and it's like a 4-kilometer round trip. And
that's sounding a bit like the winter sculling Albert Park race, isn't it? 4 kilometres around an island?
Yes. So it just, you know, I mean, so if you have it around that time, you'll find that you'll get good weather most of the time.
I reckon there's no doubt that's going to get some legs and take off. Just back to the rowing club. How many members do you have, Mario?
So at the moment we have 22 members, around 22, 23.
Yeah. Are they active, or what's the...
What's happening is basically my family's, you know, half of the active members. Then we've got Jeremy Laing.
Yeah.
So Jeremy's my eldest
Yep.
boy, and he was a triathlete. You know, he's a great
sport.
triathlete.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
like you. Yeah. So he's doing that's a full-on sport. So he's so much training goes into.
Yes.
I have a lot of respect for triathletes, but there's so much.
There's a good
time.
crossover between the two sports, and because you actually need a hell of a good engine for both of them.
Yeah. So
anyway,
there is a good crossover. So and then he sort of he was looking for his next thing, and then so we've been out on the lake a couple of times, him and I and my other son Tim, who also rowed. I sort of taught him how to row early, like
like when he was 3.
Yeah, sort of. I sort of thought I think it's a great family sport. You know, it's one of those things that keeps the family together, kind of thing. You know, because it's a link, and
you're outdoors as well, and that's I think one of the greatest things of rowing, isn't it? Because you are outdoors, you're enjoying all the environment as well. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and over in the on the lake there, the first time I went out, there was an eagle flying overhead. There was an osprey. These ospreys that catch fish, you know, and this thing is flying overhead. I'm going, that's going to be a good omen, you know.
Yeah.
And that's how that's become part of the emblem, you know. And then the uniform was created somehow.
Well, I was about to come to that. That was
actually Martine Elliott. Do you remember Martine Elliott from Simply Awesome? Yeah, so she created this company, Simply Awesome.
Oh, now I know who you mean.
Yeah, they make all the zooties for the Australian. You know, they're Australian made in Tasmania. And I thought, you know, it's good to support the local businesses and get Martine Elliott to help to design the logo for the thing. And she is amazing. We came, you know, back and forth, like it was like over a week.
Yep.
And this design is just perfect. It's got the lake, you know,
there is absolutely
like
no
a dragon.
doubt. There's absolutely no doubt, Mario. I was about to say this before you even started on this conversation that you win without doubt the best Zooty award because it is an awesome looking Zooty.
It is, yeah. And this color, this orange color, is something that I was thinking that, you know, we hadn't seen too much. And then I think Ballarat Clarendon or somewhere got a beautiful orange as well.
Yeah.
I like the orange, and orange seems to be the new thing.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, the Dutch have loved it for years, but that's neither here nor there. But no, I reckon it's an absolute ripper Zooty. It really it stands out. It's modern and classy, but I don't need to promote your Zooty too much. But it is absolutely a ripper.
Yeah, so if you wanted to buy the Zooty, you can buy the Zooty just from going to Simply Awesome.
Oh, right, okay.
And you can just go to, you know, Club Kit.
Yep.
And then you can order from there. And then
there's an idea. So anyone can do that because that'd be great for training in. Actually, you'd be able to do it. You'd be able to use them in winter sculling too, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Actually,
and the other thing
I've got to say this, Mario. Sorry, because it is a bit of a funny story. And I don't know if you know the story. You probably do know the story because you were at Powerhouse at the time, if I recall. But you had a single sculler down there doing the winter sculling, and she put on your kit, and she rode, and she came back and found it was a little bit uncomfortable, and it turned out she had it on backwards. Do you know that story?
Yeah, I actually do know that story. I couldn't believe it.
Should we embarrass her and tell her?
Yeah. How did she get that backwards?
Yeah,
but I remember that. And there's even a photo to prove it. You know, it's amazing. There's even a photo to prove it.
I've seen wetsuits being put on backwards at
photo should be framed, and there should be an award named after it.
Yeah. That is up there with one of the great. I mean, the thing with rowing stories is they're actually all the same, but this one is actually a bit different. I've not heard this one before. Anyway, so no, it's bloody exciting stuff what you're doing there, Mario, and I reckon hats off to you for, you know, not only just having the idea, because, you know, everyone has ideas. What you've done is you've executed, and that's the real key to anything, whether it's business, sport, pleasure, or whatever. I mean, you have the idea, you've got to execute it, and that's what you've done. You've got it going. It's existing. You've won a medal. You've broken through that, and I mean, it's onwards and upwards. And you know, talking of having a regatta up there, I don't think there's any doubt that will absolutely take off. I mean, who wouldn't go up there for a regatta?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of mountain bike riders that come up here. I just keep meeting people that are into mountain bike riding, and it seems to be taking off. You know, our sport has the lakes and the rivers, you know, they're also so beautiful. And they used to row in all sorts of rivers, you know, all through the country. They had clubs everywhere at some point. And it's a sport that should be for everybody, not just for the... You're absolutely spot on, Mario. And I think a lot of people see it as a bit of a closed off sport when it's absolutely not. I mean, you do need a bit of an introduction, I suppose. You need to know that you can go to a club. You need to know that you'll be embraced at a club, and you are. Clubs want new people. It doesn't matter whether you know, whatever ages, they'll get you in there. It doesn't have to be, you know, locked out to the, for lack of a better word, the private school network. It is open to everyone, and you know, it's not an expensive activity, really. You know, you pay your membership of your clubs, and you can go down there and use their facilities whenever you like. It is a sport that is open to everyone, and it doesn't matter. You know, I was watching some of the New South Wales state championships today, and you know, I'm looking at it and I'm watching the elite men's or elite women's, either watching both of them, or the singles. And even in those events, you got people, you know, 30 lengths back. So, and that's at the pointy end. So there's no, you know, if you want to go and race, there's no shame or embarrassment of being last. Someone has to come last. I came second last in my first ever triathlon. And I only came second last because the girl in front of me felt sorry for me and let me finish in front of her. You know, I think it is, you're exactly right. It is a sport that should be accessible, is accessible, and should be utilised by everyone. We have chatted for a long time. I reckon we're going to chat more because there's so much more to talk about. Can we do a part 2? Because
I think we're going to have to do a part 2. No doubt. Because you know, maybe what we've got to do is a live one from the bank of a river sometime. You know, we're going to be at Ngambia in a week, aren't we?
Yeah, we could do it.
Hopefully, if all goes well, I might be sitting in a boat with you in a week or so.
Well, let's do that. Yes, I love to. We're going to Ngambia. We're having a raffle.
People want to support our club. I had a note here to mention that. Tell us about the raffle.
So we're basically being supported by Sykes Rowing. They've just come and said, you know, we want to help you with raising funds for the rowing club. And basically, and they said you can have this rowing machine, you know, and so they're helping us out too, because they also realize that, you know, we have opportunities for more people to join rowing and more boats to be sold at some point.
And I think, you know, I know Mark through connections, and I was on the committee of Scotch Mercs Regatta some years ago with Mark, and he's such a positive guy about his rowing, and you know, it's great that they're throwing in a concept too. The only problem is, as I sort of made jokingly on your Facebook page, is you want to enter the raffle, absolutely, but God, you don't want to win the prize, do you?
I know some people love them, some people hate them. I've learned to love my rowing machine a bit more, you know, because it's an amazing contraption, really. That was created,
an amazing,
you know?
Tool. Yeah, it's an amazing tool.
Well, it just feels so much like you're trying to not work hard at it. Yeah. It's the ultimate thing, you know, because you know,
you're breaking up a bit there, Mario. You're walking too far away from your Wi-Fi
of it, you know, people. Okay.
Yeah, you go. I could see you wandering outside. The nice weather's getting the better of you, isn't it? Oh, look at that. Sun shining up in Eildon. Oh, jeez.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, it's breaking off a little bit.
Yeah.
So how do we buy raffle tickets? Go onto your Facebook page, Lake
Yeah, go
Eildon
onto
Rowing Club.
Yep.
Find a link.
And find the link, and it's all basically straightforward. It's done through a professional organisation that run raffles.
Fantastic.
And so there's a couple of really good prizes. There's 3 prizes altogether. Just people who've donated for our club. There's a lady from Hawthorne, Jacinta Pomp, and her husband runs the Surge Pomponio. And we're going.
So
anyway,
Mario, I've got to jump in. I've got to jump in because I did look at the prize and it just reminded me. So your second prize is Serge Vidal, right? The hairdresser.
It's $250. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is $250 worth of hair products.
Yep. Now why this is funny is,
and then you've got
so why this is funny is because obviously I don't need hair products, but if you go back many years, I was actually going to be a hairdresser, oddly enough, and my work experience was done at Serge Vidal in Glenferrie Road, just under the train line. So I have actually worked in that place back in 1985, it would have been, end of 1985, 1986. So it's been around a long time, back when it was Serge Vidal, or Serge was in there, and I've actually done work experience in that exact place when I was planning to be a hairdresser. But back then the idea was a bald hairdresser wouldn't really work, but I'm sure there's plenty of them now. But anyway,
there's plenty of them now.
Yeah.
Anyway, I am going to have to go now, and let's have a part 2 because, and I appreciate your support, and I really enjoy your company. So let's do something at Ngambie. We're rowing in a quad together.
Yep.
I think you have to pick either a mixed squad or a beginner's squad.
Yeah, well, I'll do both if I can. I can assure you. I love to get in, especially like those beginners, the same ones from Ngambie. I'm not sure, but I love the beginners because they're motivated, they're keen, and you know what I love about them so much is they're scared, clueless when they get to the start line, as we all are. I get terrified too. Anyway, thanks very much for joining me, Mario. I love the story of Lake Eildon Rowing Club, and I reckon it's going to be a massive success. And you've done so well. If there was more people like you in all sport would be absolutely booming. So good on you for getting off the backside and not only thinking about it but executing it. You've done a great job.
Thank you, Guy. Thank you. I appreciate your words.
No worries, mate.
And I look forward to rowing with you soon.
No problem.
And
again, thanks again, and enjoy the weekend. And I'll see you in a week's time up at Ngambie.
Yes. All right, let's do that. Have a great week. All right.
You too,
see you later. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.